James Harden, the beast, the brute, the beard, the benevolent. What? No, this guy's not all about like kindness and charity and taking care of people. This guy's about toughness and hardness and absolutely pounding things into dust. But that's what he's bringing us today, or he has already brought us in limited drops, but he will bring us in a general release as we take a look at this sneaker. And the thing about it is, the major thing about it is the price point on it, bringing us out a high quality basketball sneaker on a name that's been synonymous with the NBA for the last 10 years. One of the biggest stars in the game. He could bring out a $200, $250 sneaker, but instead of doing that, what he's doing is he's bringing out an $80 sneaker, an affordable sneaker attached to one of the biggest names in the NBA, and that's why I'm going to call him the benevolent for this video. He is still the beast, he is still the beard, but he is certainly sending out one of the kindest and most generous offers to people out there, and that's why I'm going to be taking a look at this sneaker at the upcoming release of the ADIDAS Harden Stepback. This is a Talking About a 23 Sneaker channel, Talking About a 23 Sneaker channel day. It's my Nichi Upstream all day, my Nichi Music Design. Every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And today what we're talking about is the upcoming general release of the Harden Stepback. And I'm saying general release because I think this is already dropped in sort of limited releases, but you know, at least here in Tokyo, Japan, it definitely didn't drop general release, and it will be dropping a general release here in the next couple of days' time. So that's why I've chosen to bring that particular shoe to the channel today. Of course, if it's already dropped in your part of the world, please let me know in the comments down below. Now, what I want to do today is I want to take a look at the sneaker and I'm going to compare it to the Harden Volume 4. I'll put a really brightly colored one behind me here so you can see what I'm talking about. Because the thing is, you've got to know what this looks like to understand how they were able to get an $80 sneaker like this and see the comparison between the two. So we'll look at the difference between the two sneakers, and we'll also look at the main points of detailing and design on the actual Stepback itself. But let's step back and talk about that name for a minute, because you have to understand that as well to understand this sneaker. And the whole thing is, it's like Adidas and James Harden himself sort of owning one of the controversies of his career, which is all about taking too many steps when he's going to shoot in certain sort of situations. Now, in basketball, I think I'm right now. I'm no basketball legend, and speaking of that, I can't tell you anything about performance as far as basketball sneakers can go. I can tell you about construction, I can tell you about design, I can tell you about the story and the narrative of the sneaker, but as far as performance goes, this is not the channel for you if that's what you're looking for. But as far as I know, when it comes to basketball, it's all about having that one step that you can take one step without when you've got the ball. When you've got the ball in control, you're in control of the ball. And the thing with James Harden is that some people say he takes too many steps, and that's why he's so effective. So instead of sort of kind of hiding that, pretending it doesn't exist, Adidas and James Harden said, you know what, let's own that and let's come out with a sneaker that actually names that, and that's the forefront of it. Let's just, you know, attack it head on instead of trying to go around it and pretend it doesn't happen. So I kind of respect that. I respect the guy who takes, you know, his controversy and attacks it head on and challenges it head on. Whether or not he does actually take too many steps, again, I'm not your guy to answer that question. What I can answer to you is about a couple of detailings on this and the Volume 4. So if we go over to the Volume 4s, I think I'm right in saying it's towards the heel on the Volume 4s, and hopefully I'll be able to zoom in somehow on the green screen behind me here, and you'll be able to see that. The green screen's holding up. We're here in Tokyo, Japan. I'm at home shooting video today. It's exactly midnight, and I'm right now I'm shooting these videos less than 24 hours in advance, which I hate to do. I prefer to do all this planned and have it all set up and shoot videos in chunks as well, so that I'm not just doing one day ahead of the game kind of thing. But this whole lockdown situation, the whole coronavirus situation that we're all challenged with out there, that's what's slowing me down these days. But so far, fingers crossed, touch wood, I haven't missed a day yet, and we've got this daily drops going all the way back to December 2018 that I've been able to keep the daily stuff going, and hopefully that's going to hold up every day going forward, and that's what we're doing today right now. So yeah, speaking of the green screen, hopefully you can see that I've zoomed in on it's Go Wit Yo Move, I think I'm right in saying. Now I know I'm a white guy, and I know that's not, like, it just doesn't sound right coming out from me. I mean, I'm just going to own that myself. So if we're talking about people owning things, Go Wit Yo Move, I mean, it just doesn't sound right. Let's just be honest about it. But that's what it says. So, you know, I'm not trying to be something I'm not. I'm not trying to be like, I don't know, just, that's just what it says on the shoes. And what it is James Harden had a bodyguard who I think passed away in 2017. And that's what he used to say. He says, go with your move. And what he meant was, you know, you do your thing, what you know. You do your thing. Don't try to be someone that you're not. And that was his kind of thing that he said to James Harden. It really sort of stuck with James Harden. And then him passing away, he brought that into his volume 4s, and then also now into these step backs. So we'll have a look on the step backs as well, and hopefully you'll be able to see that zoom in there. And I think it's a hashtag mainly, I guess, for Twitter, but mainly for Instagram as well. And it's go with your move. And it's a cool little story, a cool little personal detail. And apparently the guys over at Adidas said that for the volume 4s, James Harden kind of opened up a bit. He turned 30, he's been in the NBA for 10 years. He's maybe got a little bit less, you know, sort of protective of himself, is a bit more confident in himself, that he can actually project stuff like that has to do with emotions or feelings or stories and stuff like that. So it's not just about the basketball. And that go with your move or go with your move is part of that. It's part of him opening up and putting more of himself into his shoes. So that's a great thing and a great little detail on both the volume 4s and on these step backs. Now, if we have a look at the volume 4s, it's a very complicated looking shoe, but it's not that different from these step backs. Now, one of the places I really like to look at is around the lacing system on the volume 4s. You can see a sort of, it hangs low in the top half of the laces, and in particular one that we're looking at right now is grey. And you'd think that was gone on these step backs. So if I show you the step backs now, you think that's not there, but then we'll do that whole zooming in thing and you'll see that actually it is kind of still there, and it's still kind of the same sort of construction. And then if we pan back out again, it is still sort of the same construction as far as like the height, the silhouette, and then if you look along sort of midfoot and the midsole and the way that the mud guards come up and play on top of the shoe, where there's that split down the middle and those kind of things, it generally speaking looks very, very, very similar. But the place that I really want to go look at is I want to go into the toe box area, and you'll see how simplified these step backs are. And they're just a very simple sort of leather toe box wrapped around a bit of mesh on the top, I think it's mesh, and then that sort of extra bit of leather that comes up on the medial side to give you a bit of protection on your big toes when you're doing you're shooting and changing direction in the basketball court. But it's so simplified. It's such a much simplified thing. We flip back to the toe box in the volume 4s, and you can see how much more is going on that shoe. And we pan along the side, the lateral side of the volume 4s, and you can see there's an awful lot in terms of detailing, extra layers, extra pieces of material and stuff like that. And then if you go back to the toe box of the side, the step backs, and like I said, it's very simple. And then we start that pan again, and you can see how much simpler this shoe is. And again, that'll get you to your $80 price point, which is a great thing. It's great to be able to make affordable shoes. It might turn out to be a really clever piece of timing, you know, by chance by the Adidas line, but we're about to head into an economic hardship that a lot of us are going to struggle under, and then having a shoe out there at $80 price point, you know, all that stuff that's $200, $250, very soon, very few people are going to be able to afford to buy that kind of stuff. So having an $80 shoe already established might actually steal a march on the other guys out there. Now let's have a couple of looks at a look at a couple of the details on this guy. I really do like the Harden insignia or logo that you find across his sneakers in a few different places, sometimes on the heels, sometimes up in the tongue and things like that. That little H to sort of signify that this is his own shoe. And then also if we flip them upside down and have a look at the outsole, I kind of appreciate that they've taken the time to make it a two-tone outsole, even though it's an $80 sneaker, and it would be a lot cheaper to go with one whole colorway on the bottom of that guy. They've taken the time to actually split that up and make it into two, so they're not turning this into just a total cheap, you know, this thing's going to fall apart in a month and nobody's going to rock it. They're actually taking the time to try and make it look good as well as cost good, and I think those two things together are pretty cool things to aim for. So and if we pan back out and then just look at the sneaker as a whole, especially with that three-stripe branding on the side, on the volume 4s you don't really see the three-stripe branding on the side. That's front and center on here, and that the coloring on these ones in particular of those three-stripe brandings matches the sort of heel cup at the back there that gives you that support around your heel area. So the coloring on there is the same, but then when you pan it back out, the last little bit of color to look at is in the laces with that purple going on, which matches the front half of the outsole that we talked about earlier. All in all, it's a solid looking sneaker. It's not going to break any design sort of rules or any get any awards for, you know, like, oh, this is the next Air Jordan 1. It's not trying to do that. I talked yesterday about the PG, what were they now? Was it PG4s that were a sort of all-terrain kind of shoe? It was the ACG, I think it was, the all conditions gear, ACG. Yesterday, hopefully I've put up a picture of it behind me here, and I compared that to the Breads, the PG4 Breads, and said that they look similar, but they're not trying to be the same thing. Those outdoor shoes weren't trying to be Breads, and it's the same with these guys. They're not trying to be anything other than an affordable basketball sneaker, and I think that's a good thing. It's good that one of the biggest names in the business is putting out an affordable shoe, especially when a lot of kids out there want to rock the shoes that have their favorite player's name on them. So I'm a big yes on these guys in the concept. As far as it looks, it's a simple shoe. There's nothing major that goes one way or the other. It's not like horrible, that's disgusting, I'll never wear that, but equally it's not innovative or creative in a way that you're like, wow, that's like, you know, the Yeezy 350 V2s when they came out and everybody's like, whoa, I've never seen anything like that. That's not what they were going for with this, and that's exactly what they've got. They've got what they went for, and that tiny little bit of personalization in there with that go with your move, I kind of really dig that, and I appreciate that even in an $80 sneaker. And that's me for today, guys. Just kind of locking it up, checking between those two, the volume 4s and then the step backs, but also giving me a detailed look at the step back and the story that goes behind it. But it's enough for me right now. It's clipping on for late at night. I've got things to do. It's already, you know, into what day is it now? It's Wednesday, and this will drop on Wednesday. And trying to churn out the content's been hard. But you know what? A few people have dropped comments down below to say, you know, stick with it. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And I appreciate that as well. I've tried to really get back to comments on social media. I've succeeded in getting back to social media, but not so much with the comments. But you know, under lockdown things are a bit harder, and I'm doing my best, and people are appreciating that, and I appreciate that people are appreciating that. So thank you guys very much for the comments and the shout outs. Anyway, for now it's time for me to sign off. Thank you guys for checking out my content, and I'll do what I do at the end of every single video, which is tell you guys that I do this every single day, and that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.